Hello, our viewers. It is another Furahi Day and we are doing it again. And this is Couples Wheel Show, where we write down our love wheel while we are alive. And we are glad that you have continued supporting us. Thank you for following us. Thank you all those who are commenting as we are continuing. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. And I believe year 2021 is taking you well. You are enjoying the year? Yes. Thank God for that, and we are grateful to God. We believe that He will be able to walk with us throughout this year without pandemic, because our God is faithful. And we are doing part 2 of physical abuse. We started last week, part 1, and we want to do part 2 of physical abuse because there are some things we left hanging. And in studio, I have amekuwa mwenyeji sasa. Thank you, Grace, for coming again.
You are welcome.
Yes.
I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
Yes. It's a pleasure. And again, Grace Kariuki.
Yes.
Marriage and family counselor.
Yes.
Very passionate about relationships and mental health. Yes.
We thank God.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Can you do a recap of what we were doing last?
Yes. We talked about physical abuse.
Yes.
That first of all, we need to know it's an assault.
Yeah.
So it is legally a crime.
Yes.
That you shouldn't do that. But second of all, we talked about the fight-flight mode that causes people to self-protect when they feel that they have been violated or somebody has crossed over to their personal space.
Yeah.
And so some of us, the introverts, are more quick to anger. The extroverts, the introverts are more, they will hide and they will try to avoid the physical fighting. But eventually, either one of us can become physically abusive because of holding on to things for too long.
Yeah.
And so self-management becomes one of the things that people need to develop.
Yes.
Yes.
I believe one day you'll come so that we can handle the issue of conflict management.
Absolutely.
So that we can help our people.
Absolutely.
Personally, I'm learning a lot from this, and I thank God.
Yes.
And so as we continue with the topic of physical abuse, I want to ask, should one exercise patience in marriage where there is physical abuse?
Right. Now, I'm going to say, no, they shouldn't. In this way.
Yeah.
Don't stay when somebody is physically abusing you. Now, physical abuse includes shoving, includes hitting, strangling.
Yeah.
It includes throwing things at you where your life is in danger.
Yeah.
Don't stay. You need to walk out and go find help. In this way, a lot of people are thinking when I say that, I'm telling you to abandon your marriage. No.
Yeah.
What I am saying is that you shouldn't say, you shouldn't give excuses for someone to hit you. What you need to do is to walk out and go get some real help.
Yeah.
If you are not sure whether you should leave the marriage, you should stay, because usually people ask, I am leaving to go where? I have 3 children.
Yeah.
What about my children? He loves my children. How do I live? So I want to say, no, you shouldn't tolerate it. What you need to do is to begin to look for help. So I talked about you need to report. Number 2, you need to be able to create, to communicate. This is not, I am not going to allow this to happen again. Now, what we know traditionally, what people do, or historically what people have done, you go to your parents. You involve the family, and that is good. However, these days, it is very difficult for the family, your mother and father, to know what to do. And then there is this other thing that happens. When I report it to my parents, then the man says, ulienda kunishtaki. And then I get beaten again. So that is why I'm saying that you need to look at your situation. And if you're not sure, call us. Marriage counselors are all over this place. Call a professional. And usually when we go to the church empathizes and they will pray. And they might even call the man and tell him to come. But the difference between you going to somebody else other than a professional, the professional will be able to diagnose the problem. they will be able to say that this man needs anger management. This woman needs anger management. So it's not a matter of, oh, they don't respect, they need to be trained how to be a good wife, or they need to be trained how to be a good husband. No, these people have an issue of a mental health issue and a behavioral issue on how to deal with how they feel mentally when they are triggered. And so you want to make sure that it is not a good idea for you to just stay, because it becomes a cycle.
Now, there are these people, as you're talking about going to report, there are those who will go and report to their pastors. And so the pastor will just say, we'll pray.
Yes.
Is prayer enough?
It's not enough. There is also the fact that, you see, when Jesus was angry, he went into the church and into the temple and he created a boundary. He said, you will not make my Father's house a thief of dens, a den of thieves. And he did that. He created a consequence where now you cannot no longer do it. You see, so that is what I'm saying. We need to the issue of walking away from this abuse is important, because it sets a boundary. Now there is also something else. If you walk away because your life is in danger, then you need to do the next step, which is you need to ask yourself, what must happen for me to return? You see, and this is where the abused person has an opportunity to say, I'm not coming back until you get help. And this is not him going to a session or two and then coming out. No. This is where he goes and he learns about how to manage his anger. Because sometimes the people who are very abusive in their marriages, out there, they are very nice.
They are very nice to the other people.
Yes. And another day when we have time, we can talk about some of the reasons why people develop this aggression. It may have nothing to do with the marriage. It may have a lot of things to do with upbringing, their belief system. There are people who believe that women must be beaten up. Because if you don't beat the wife, and he will grow horns. You see, so we need to get into this psyche and find out what are the beliefs of this person. And so that is a broader conversation. But I will say that it is prudent for you to protect yourself. There is also the issue of children. The moment your spouse hits you in front of your children, that should tell you should walk out. Go get help. Because now it has moved away from you and him, and it becomes the children now have to deal with it. How many times have I heard stories where the child is coming in between mom and dad? Please don't fight.
And you're affecting these children.
We shouldn't put our children in that space. And then we wonder why when they are teenagers they start using drugs, they become addicted to all kinds of stuff. So it's important for us to pray, but to also act. James, in the book of James, he talks about faith without works is dead.
It's dead.
So I need to pray while I am saying I'm setting boundaries. The next time you hit me, I will go to the police. The next time you hit me, I am leaving. You need to create these boundaries and then make them good. Don't just say and you're not doing anything. I have had a lot of men come to therapy because their wives left and they refuse to return until you go and get help. And there are a few men who have been able to change their ways because they realized it's not that such a big deal. You just need to be in touch with yourself and then learn how to self-control. Because you see, the men who are beating up their wives, they don't beat up people elsewhere. So why do you beat up the very person who is your life partner? So there is an issue of you are holding on to a lot of anger, even from outside.
So
and
then you go out there, you get frustration. You come.
So when you
bring
come
it to your wife.
When you come home and your wife asks you something, na unajua sasa the kettle was so full. So that when she says something, that is the trigger, and then you start beating her. But really, beating her has nothing to do with her. Now, there is also the issue of cheating in relationships. When people are being violating their spouse through having affairs, and then the spouse comes up and says, no, you can't do that. They get beaten up.
Yeah.
You know, so this person needs to find out, why did I beat her up when she actually told me and caught me in...
And this is the truth.
Yes.
It's not a lie.
So why am I beating her up? So we do have some of our, especially the men, some of our men who have abusive personalities. And that doesn't mean they can't change. It just means that they refuse or they don't know how to really look at themselves and say, ai, kwa nini sasa ninamchapa? You know, so the pride, the ego, those are the things that changia to now the physical violence.
Now, let me ask, as you have talked about the issue of children and these couple is the man or the woman is being abusive physically. What happens to the children where there is a partner who is beating their parents? Let's say the man is beating their mom in front of them. What happens to these children? And what should we do to such children?
Yeah. Now, what happens to those children? They develop what we call anxiety. And the anxiety is the fear of the unknown. Today, I'm doing a lot of therapy for grown-up people who are trying to heal from childhood wounds. So what do they tell me? They tell me, whenever ilikuwa inafika saa 5 o'clock in the evening, we know dad is coming home, you begin to feel so anxious and so afraid because you don't know how he will come. The moment he gets into the house and mom says something, you're like, oh my goodness, he's going to erupt again. So you need to understand as a parent that when you are hitting your spouse, you are creating for your children a very unsafe environment. They may not say anything.
Repeat that again.
When you are hitting the mother of your children in front of them, or even in your room, and they can hear it, you are creating a very unsafe emotional environment for them.
Yes.
Because they do not know what else to do. And you see, children are caught in the middle because now they love dad and they love mom. So you will find that the children are not able, they become confused about how do you deal. Because they begin to feel like they have to be loyal to one or the other because you guys are not agreeing. So it's very important to understand that that when you are hitting your wife, you are also hitting the mother of your children. So your children are affected by that. And then your children develop some type of confusion about how to deal with you because you are very nice to them. There is one lady who told me, Dad was always nice to us. In fact, he would come home with KFC, he would bring us gifts and everything, but at the same time, he comes home and he is calling mom names, he's beating her up, but this is the man who will come home and he is the one who reads bedtime stories for the kids. So these children become very confused because now they have this loving father, but he's very abusive to their mother. So what happens that you will find the children are confused about how to deal with both of them. So it's important for men and women to understand toxic homes. They create toxic people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, as a person now, how do you handle such a spouse?
Yeah, a spouse.
This person comes today. He's bringing you flowers, chocolate. He's doing all the best thing and good things to your children. Then the next day, he's all about beating you.
Now, that is where we said that there will need to be a consequence where there is a separation. Separation, I call it therapeutic separation. The separation, what it will do, it will give each one of you a chance to heal. So this person, unfortunately, what happens is that most men, especially who are abusers, they refuse to go for help. They only go for help because they want the wife to come back. But really, during the time when she is away, he should. And I have seen quite a bit of men who come and they actually do their work. We talk about, I love those sessions because the man is able to, unajua wanaume hawajisemi, they don't talk.
Yes.
But once that man comes to therapy because his wife left him, when he comes to therapy, then he is able to pour out his heart because there is no judgment.
Yeah.
And we talk about childhood, and they will tell you when they were 10 years old, when they were this years old, what happened. There is a trauma that happened to them, either rejection by dad, rejection by mom, or they grew up watching mom and dad fight, or watching dad beat up mother, and they could not, they were so helpless, they couldn't help their mother. So they have carried a lot of anger throughout their life, but they do not realize that is why they become so aggressive towards their wives. Now, there is also something else that we need to identify. Men who beat their wives, you know, deep down, they are afraid. Ask me what they are afraid of.
They are afraid of what?
They are afraid of being abandoned. And those men, when you look back to their childhood, you realize they were abandoned either by their mother or maybe their father was very abusive to them. And so now when they come here and they meet a woman who loves them, who accepts them, who's there for them, they become obsessed with her. So sometimes the women who are being beaten up, they are being beaten up by men who are so afraid that they will leave. They will leave. So they exact power on this woman. So they do things like, even if you leave me, nani atakutaka, you know, they won't allow them to work. They won't allow them to interact with other people because they are afraid that they are not good enough for this woman and she might leave. So unfortunately for them, they use violence to keep their control here. Because there is a lot of unhealed anger from way back when. And then of course now, if they were rejected at home and then they fell in love several times along their life's journey and women left them. And sometimes you will be left because when you come into a relationship, you are so obsessive. She can't talk to anyone, she can't go anywhere. And then the woman just decides, no. Or you find a woman who is unable to deal with this much attention, they leave. And so, again, the anger keeps building. So when they get into the marriage, they are still feeling like they will be left. So the fear of rejection and abandonment can also changia to that. Men who have been cheated on, that's another issue that would cause them to now be violent within their marriages, especially when they begin to see that the wife is social, she talks to everybody, she entertains people, so they might feel a lot of jealousy and a lot of fear of losing her.
But does it mean that there is no other way you can handle that?
No. There are many ways you can do it. So number one, if you are an abuser, please find help. Do anger management. Ask a therapist to teach you how to manage your anger. Deal with the issues of low self-worth and low self-esteem, plus the anger, the disappointment that how do you manage that? So there is what we call behavioral therapy, where now you learn your anger, you get in touch with your emotions, and then you learn how to self-regulate. There is a training we take people through, 6 sessions of emotional intelligence. You develop emotional intelligence, and basically emotional intelligence is being self-aware, regulating your emotions, and then regulating how you relate with other people so that you can have healthy interpersonal relationship. So this self-awareness is being able to name every emotion you feel, identify your triggers, and then now learn the skills of self-management. And self-management means when I begin to feel angry, before I get to the point of no return, I need to walk away from this situation. I need to stop my mind from creating pictures in my mind about what could be happening. I need to learn how to deal with anxiety. Anxiety is the fear of something bad happening without my control. So that's why we are looking at each other us phones and we are saying kuna kitu. So I'm looking at your phone and I'm looking for something.
Yes.
You know, because I'm feeling anxious.
And when you're looking for something, you
will find it. Now, and this is the thing I say. When you begin to look for something, it's because already you have been triggered to think something is wrong. How do you know something is wrong? Somebody's changed behavior.
Yes.
They changed something they used to do and now kuna kitu wanafanya which is suspicious. And most of the times people are putting passwords on their phones where there used to be none. People are picking up the call wakati simu ikikuja wanaenda kwa choo ama kila mara akienda kwa bafu anabeba simu. Akienda nje anabeba simu. But it never used to be like that. So you begin to become suspicious. And at that point, something is not right. Yeah. And so when you go to the phone, you didn't find it because you were looking. You found it because it was there. Yes. Yes. Because a lot of time people say, wachana na simu yangu, usipoangalia hautapata. So it's important for us to understand how relationships work. If we train you on emotional intelligence, we also train you on relational intelligence. Relational intelligence means I learn how to use my emotions to be able to create healthy relationships. But you see now, I am aware of my emotions, but I use them to break down my relationship. You see, so it's a training. It's not something that you just born with. Although there are people who are naturally they are able to manage themselves, so they don't need the training. They just know how. They are mature. There are people who are logical. So if there is a problem, I sit you down, we agree on the problem. I don't raise my voice. I don't call you names, because this is what happens when we are angry. And our anger is not taken care of. So we fight about the person. You are lazy. What kind of a wife are you? What kind of a man are you? Man up. Be like other men. Yes. That is called character assassination. It never helps. It creates more fire. Yeah. So we don't want to do that. We want to train people. When there is a problem, talk about the problem. And don't talk about the individual.
Now, there's this couple. They have tried to seek for help. The lady have gone out of the house, and the man will come, they'll talk and say, forgive me, I'll change. Then coming back, the same thing repeats itself. Yes. What do you do?
That's why I said, when you take the break, you need to ask yourself, before you return, what am I returning to? What's the plan of this break? That's why I said there is something I call and I prescribe for couples. It's called therapeutic break. The therapeutic break is that you guys, because usually they come and they want to do marriage therapy. And they want to ask me, should we get back together? I say, no, before you get back together, let's deal with the issues. Now, I know the church will tell them different. They will tell them, apana, nyi so that you can do mkiwa pamoja. The problem is, the person who is the perpetrator of violence, they are coming after you because they feel lonely, they feel bad about what they did, and you are not giving them an opportunity to sit.
Trying to cover their image.
Yes. We are not giving them the opportunity to sit with the anxiety, the fear, the sadness of what they did. Yeah. Because the woman is gone because you hit her. So now that she's gone, you are realizing your mistake. So we need you to sit. And you sit with it. So you learn how to allow your brain to be okay with being uncomfortable. You see? So now when you have the break, let us work. Come to therapy. Let us work on helping you as the perpetrator not to repeat it again. So what are we saying? Whenever you get mad, let's sit with that anger. And let's get in touch with it, and let's decide what we are going to do with it. Yes. Let's not let it be the one which decides what we are going to do. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is that we train you to retrain your brain, to unlearn unhealthy relational patterns, so that you can develop healthy ones, so that you can have the kind of relationship you're looking for.
Wow.
Yeah.
As you wind up, how can one come out of this thing called physical abuse?
Yeah. Now, so this is what happens. The problem we have is that you have this lady who has been married for 18 years, 15 years, 10 years, 5 years. She has 3 kids, 2 kids, 1 child. She doesn't have a job. She doesn't have support. If she goes home, they tell her, you know, hii ni mambo ya vumilia, go back. If she goes to church, they tell her, pray for your husband, it's a spirit, and they do all of that. So normally, because we are not dealing with the problem, because really what happens is that we talk to the women, because usually it is the victim who looks for help. So we talk to them, we empower them, but nobody is talking to the perpetrator. We keep telling her, go back, muombe, you know, try not to provoke him and all that. But we need to change that narrative. And we need to, when they come to church, when she comes to church and she says, my husband is doing, I need, as the pastor, I need to call the man. Man to man.
Yes.
Sit here, let's talk.
What's happening?
Hey, what is going on, my man? And let's begin as men in the church, as men in the community, to start sitting down the men who are fighting fighting the women in their lives. Now, the other thing we need to understand is that now our society has changed a lot. We have intermarried, you know, different cultures.
Yeah.
But before, there were these structures that were there. That now if you beat, because I do remember my mother telling me, there was this man who used to beat his wife in the community. And you see the chief comes and talks to him. The wazees come and talk to him. In fact, there was one, she told me they walimfukuza because he was beating up his wife in a Hasiki, you know. So there were interventions, or sometimes he would get beat up for beating up his wife. So there were interventions. Even now, we need to create interventions for people to be able to walk out of abusive situations and to keep people safe. And that is why I said the first way to deal with an abusive relationship is to report it. Because once you report it, you are also telling this man that this is not acceptable.
Yeah.
This is sitanyamazia. I'm not keeping it here. This is going to go out. And most of the times, people who are abusive, they don't want to be known. They are those who don't care. And then you will have all kinds of calibers of abusive people. So they will go, they will deny. But you see, if you don't have an OB, if you don't have pictures, if you don't have a doctor's report, they will deny, and it's your word against them. So that is why it's important to do these things that we are saying. Now, for the abused spouse, please leave and get help. Leave and get help. Go home, and then go for therapy while you are at home. Now, there are many organizations that offer. They offer free services for issues of mental health and domestic abuse. So seek that. Ask people for where you can get that help. I know people only know FIDA, and that's one place you can go. But there are others that you can go. You can go to. I know Sitam churches, they have free counseling. So don't sit and think that nobody will understand you. Please go out and get help. And again, I am emphasizing, if you are a man and you know very well in your heart you love your wife, you don't want to hit her, but it happens. It keeps happening and you feel out of control. Please call us. Call me.
Yes.
I will walk with you. I don't judge. In fact, I walk with you and I want to hear your story with no judgment, so that you can figure out where this is coming from and you can begin to change.
Wow.
Yeah.
Grace, give us your parting shot.
Now, this is what I'm going to say. Anyone who is listening to us and you are going through an abusive relationship and you are the abuser, please reach out for help. There is help. You don't have to continue to perpetuate violence towards your spouse. Neither do you have to stay in a place where your life is constantly in danger. And remember what I said. When you fight as parents, your children are the ones who are getting traumatized. So seek out and reach out for help.
Wow. Thank you very much. We appreciate you for coming. Thank you for creating time out of your busy schedule to come and be with us. And that is it. We come to the end of our show tonight. This is Couples Will Show, where we write down our love will while we are alive. As we have always said, we don't want our love story to be told when we are gone. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for following us. If you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do go to YouTube and search for Wema Online TV and you find us there. Just subscribe. Na hiyo kengele ichape. Every time we are on, you'll be notified. Thank you. God bless your marriage and God bless you.
Wema TV, the voice of hope.